from both the left and the right and the centre have sent a letter of protest to China. One is Liberal MP Andrew Hastie, Chairman of the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me. Can you tell us, why is this issue so important to you?
Well, good evening, Andrew, to you and your viewers. This is a really important issue because this goes to the question of trust, ultimately. The Sino-British Joint Declaration of 1984, which is the basis of the one country, two system arrangement that governs Hong Kong, has basically been cast aside by Beijing. And so we're very concerned about Hong Kong, its autonomy, its democracy, and we don't want to see Beijing going around the people, around the parliament, around the judiciary and enforcing the CCP way of life upon the people of Hong Kong. So this is really about trust. If we can't trust Beijing to honour the declaration, then how can we expect them to honour other arrangements that we've entered into with them?
Yep, this arrangement of Hong Kong having its own system is supposed to have lasted to 2047. It's being brought to an abrupt end, of course, it seems from this. China's accused you and other foreign critics of what it calls bandit diplomacy, not quite sure what that is, of meddling in China's internal affairs. Do you think China, and this is not the only issue, but it's playing up the nationalism card right now, you know, wicked foreigners, let's get Chinese territory back. It's doing that to get Chinese citizens behind it because the economy is now going very badly, and that used to be its reason for existence. Trust us will make you rich.
Look, me and my colleagues, our bottom line is sovereignty, Australian sovereignty, and we want to see Hong Kong and its people maintain their own sovereignty and autonomy as well. And so, in a sense, to guarantee our own, we've got to stand up and make the case for others as well. In as much as we respect Chinese sovereignty, we just ask the same of ours and Hong Kong and other nations as well. So that's the principle at work here and something we take very seriously.
Well, talking about sovereignty, Victoria is the one state in this country that signed up to China's Belt and Road Initiative. The Australian government says, no, we won't sign because there's a security issue here. Now, this is China's plan to secure foreign supplies and access to ports. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo criticised Victoria in the weekend and said a deal like this just helped China to do more harm in the world. Do you think he's right?
Well, the Belt Road Initiative was started under President Xi in 2013. Now 138 countries across the globe have signed up to it. Many of them have the weakest credit ratings in the world. Countries like Iran, the Ukraine, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Laos, among many others. And the Belt Road Initiative looks like international development, but in fact, it's designed to advance the Chinese Communist Party's strategic objectives. And of course, as we've found out with Sri Lanka, if you can't pay down the loan, then China will come and take the asset from you, which is what happened with the port of Hambantota. And so it's the BRI, when you sign on to it, it's not a commercial arrangement or a trade arrangement, it's a strategic arrangement. Now, I don't think it's right or proper that the Daniels government in Victoria is entering into strategic arrangements with other countries, even after the Commonwealth has warned them against it. And then it also engages, so that engages sovereignty for Australia, it also engages the principle of transparency. You know, what deals have been done that we don't know about? The devil is always in the detail, and we haven't seen any of the paperwork. And my concern is that key assets, critical infrastructure like ports and power grids could be part of the mix. So the Premier has to come clean on this and ultimately leave things to the Commonwealth government when we're talking about strategic arrangements. So Mike Pompeo, the US Secretary of State, was absolutely right to make the points that he made.
Well, talking about that port of Hambantota, of course, when Sri Lanka defaulted, as a result, China now owns the country's second biggest port. I mean, it's just incredible. Do you think, given Victoria is also now going very deep into debt because it was already in trouble before, now because of the coronavirus and its overreaction, very deep in debt, it makes it peculiarly vulnerable if it's signing big infrastructure deals and refuses to say which ones and how much debt it's going to have financed from China. Very, very dangerous and vulnerable to be making such a deal with China.
That's right. Well, $461 billion has been loaned out through the Belt Road Initiative since 2013. Not all those loans have been dispersed, but they're the arrangements as they stand. And many of the countries who have signed up have already signalled to China that they're looking for debt relief, particularly after the coronavirus has hit them. So I'd be very, very careful as the Victorian state government entering into some sort of arrangement where effectively they could be handing strategic leverage to the Chinese government over Australia. That's really what's at stake here.
Well, I think that's absolutely right, Andrew. Andrew Hastie, thank you so much indeed for ringing the warning bell here. Thank you very much for your time.